Chapter 7, Level 3, Identity. Is knowledge controlling you, or are you controlling knowledge? I identify myself with my knowledge, although I use it and see and understand the world. We need to have a name, describe and understand the things we engage with in life. Knowledge allows us to understand the world and the universe, but when it comes to understanding ourselves, our identity is a symbol that can be wrapped up in an expression of our knowledge. From the stance of knowledge, identity is the grounding sense of self that allows us to have our place in the dream of the planet. It gives us a point of reference by which we identify and engage with one another. But this identity is a mask that blurs our awareness of the authentic self. An attachment at this level occurs when we identify ourselves with our knowledge. In the Toltec tradition, the mirror is a clean reflection of the identity level. A clean mirror is a reflection of the identity level. But it is here that we begin to lose the awareness of the line that separates life and the reflection in the mirror. This is where we begin to believe that the reflection is the truth. The main condition for acceptance in the dream of the planet is that our identity is recognized in a world of 7 billion souls. Although we do not domesticate ourselves forming this identity, domestication occurs in level 4, internalization. By adopting it, we are hoping to be understood by our community and thus ourselves. In wanting to be heard by the dream of the planet, our voice takes on an identity to express itself, or so we think. When we use knowledge to construct the dream of us, the dream of the planet, or our identity is the mask of which the dream of the planet will understand us. When speaking mind to mind, knowledge recognizes knowledge, so we become attached to the mask of our identity. At this level, we forget that the mask of our identity is an empty symbol. We just like a word whose definition is subject to an agreement set by us and the use of knowledge in the dream of the planet. Just as language can change over time, so too can our identity mask. As we increase our attachment to our identity, knowledge and consensus becomes very important to us, to the point where they give us meaning in life. So we construct a mask of our own identity by becoming the embodiment of our acquired knowledge in the form of our passion. This is a mask based on our preferences in life. Everyone we meet has a name and an identity, a meaning to go along with that name. Identity can be based on things like color of skin, nationality, our family, the religion we practice, the political party that best reflects our beliefs, a sports team that allows us the excitement of winning and losing, the work we engage in every day, and the activities we love to participate in. Our name and identity give us a purpose and a sense of belonging. For example, think of people you know and the identities either they have assumed or you have ascribed to them. Patty the teacher, Scott the fireman, Joe the next door neighbor, Jose the brother. What identities have you adopted for yourself? How do you portray those identities in the world? When you are at level 3, you confuse these identities with who you really are. As adults, we have the ability to play make-believe like we did when we were children. That is, we still have the ability to create a based on our knowledge of how to engage one another in a particular setting. But as adults, the mask becomes a way to adopt socially and relate to a group with whom we are interacting, and we have forgotten that it's a mask. We think the mask is us. To return to the sports metaphor, consider how non-football fans can get so involved in Super Bowl parties. Knowing that it's fun and exciting to invest something of oneself in a game, non-football fans will likely choose a side to root for, eagerly climbing aboard the emotional roller coaster of the game. But when the game is over, whether or not the favored team has won, a person at the level of preference, level 2, will be able to walk away from the game detached from the moment. Now contrast that with the fans who may be out of sorts for days if their teams lose, or incredibly jubilant if their team is victorious. Having forgotten to remove the mask, they are attached at level 3. At the identity level, the authentic self has a mask of the attachment in the form of identity. The levels of attachment can feel great when your team wins or when things aren't going your way. or when things are going your way. But as life shows us, what goes up must comes down, and no one wins all the time. This is why suffering inevitably occurs when you are attached at this level. We won't always be able to get what we want, but instead of having a preference and moving on if things don't go our way, at this level we have become attached. Let's continue with the example of the vegan woman. At this level, she now calls herself a vegan, the symbol of her preference. Even when she is not engaging in a meal, her identity as vegan gives her purpose and a place in her community. When she makes choices, her identity as a vegan is reflected. If she were to have ice cream, she may feel disappointed in her choice, but after a short time she'll forgive herself and move on. She does not place unreasonable conditions on herself for self-acceptance based on her identity, nor do her friends and family need to be vegan in order to fit in her life. She still has respect for others' manifestations of their personal dreams, just as she has respect for her own manifestations. These are the hallmarks of level 3. We have donned the mask of identity and forgotten it's a mask. This forgetting of who we really are, the authentic self, leads to some suffering, but generally not an inordinate amount. In the next level, internalization, our attachment to knowledge becomes more pronounced. Domestication occurs, and we cause suffering for ourselves and those around us. Whew! That was a good one. Level 3. You can see where we're going here. Next chapter is chapter 8, level 4, internalization. I think most of us will find ourselves at level 3, attached to an identity of father, mother, brother, son, daughter, whatever occupation it might be. In my case, truck driver, and these identities shape our expectations and assumptions about reality. Think of Psycho-Cybernetics, that book about the plastic surgeon, and how people drastically change personalities after a cosmetic surgery. These are just a few of the examples of how powerful what we identify with affects our lives. It really creates it. Whether we're consciously identifying with something, and working towards something, or if we're unconsciously identifying with maybe something that people are projecting onto us. Take children for an example. If you call a child a bad child, then they might start to internalize that and identify with that, and then act out that behavior. So these are all some really interesting ideas to think about and mull over, and I'm pretty excited to get into the more intense ones, because man, the implications of the benefits of just looking at these ideas is exciting. So stay tuned. Talk to you guys soon.